This is my third attempt, fucking Christ. Hello everyone, this is Darcinova here, and this is my review on Inuyasha episode 1 through 54. I'm basically going to cover only the first 54 episodes of the anime. So I'm not going to talk about stuff that later in the anime. Anyway, I'm going to sum it up the first two seasons, which are in these two sets, which you can get the repackaged versions, for like about $20 each. Covers the first 20 volumes of the manga. It adapts it very well. And unfortunately, because of that, seasons 3 and onward, there will be some filler. Every season after season 2 has filler, with the exception of the final act. But every season after the second one has filler because they covered the manga, quickly. Which this is kind of a curse that a lot of manga of this genre have. When they adapt into an anime, they go through the manga way too quickly and they have no choice but to do filler. Bleach has this problem, and Inuyasha is no exception to this rule. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that. I'll talk about that in seasons 3 and up. Now, to let you know in advance, everyone, I am not going to talk about the dub because I think the dub is awful. I don't have no desire to watch the entire series twice, all 193 episodes, because that's too much, for me to cover in one video. You know what I mean? In a series of videos. I'm just going to talk about the Japanese version only. So when I talk about the series, what I like and don't like about it or whatever, it's going to be based on the Japanese version. When I talk about a certain character, what I like about them, they'll be mainly because of their voices. Because a voice can make or break a character. I'm just going to talk about the characters, the main characters throughout the series. I'll talk about the side characters when it's appropriate. Our protagonists, Kagome and Inuyasha. Inuyasha was sealed, in the sacred tree 50 years ago because, spoiler if you haven't seen the series, Naraku sets Kikyo and Inuyasha up and makes them hate each other, and Inuyasha's sealed for 50 years. Kagome Higurashi, who is our protagonist, after her 15th birthday, gets sucked into the world of feudal Japan, and she meets Inuyasha and frees him from his seal, and they go on an adventure together to gather the sacred jewel shards. Our other characters that get introduced, Shippo, who's lost his father because the Thunder Brothers killed him. Moroku, who has a wind tunnel on his hand, which will eventually kill him if he doesn't kill Naraku. It's a curse that's been passed on from his grandfather. Sango, a demon slayer whose entire village has been massacred by Naraku, and it is forced to fight against her brother from time to time throughout the series. Yes, those are our main characters. What do I think of them? I rather like them all except Shippo. He's really fucking annoying. I mean, the Japanese voice actors, I think, really help, especially for Kagome and Inuyasha, because I couldn't stand those characters in the dub because their voices were fucking atrocious. And that's the thing. A lot of the people who hate on this anime, a lot of people probably only seen the dub and never the sub. These characters are nowhere near as obnoxious as the English version portrays them, honestly. And they feel like different characters when you hear them in English. Then again, it's probably because of the director, who the hell directed the voice actors. But still, they're nowhere near as bad as the Inuyasha dub. Well, Naruto, whatever, you know what I mean. Anyway, the plot is basically, to track down the Seiko and Jewel shards, and defeat Naraku. Of course, there's more stuff along the way, but that's basically the brief synopsis. Sorry if, yeah, I've been doing this 3 times now, and hopefully I'll get it right this time. Anyway, Inuyasha is one of the last anime that get animated, in the way that it is, because the first 98 episodes, along with the first movie, are hand drawn. Because anime, like any other form of medium, it slowly went digital. The style of animation, and Inuyasha for the first 98 episodes didn't do that, which it was nice. It was a dying form at the time, but you still had anime who used that style as late as 2002. Correct me. I'm pretty sure there may be something beyond that, but I'm not an anime connoisseur or critic, so I wouldn't know. Anyway, the animation is not bad, honestly. I think it's much better than most other anime that came out of its time. Honestly, I mean, you do have some bad animated episodes, of course. Episode 16 and 38 being the worst of the bunch. But other than that, the animation is pretty consistent throughout the series. Some of my favorite moments, in the series are, like, episode, 7. Another favorite moment is episode 18, episode 21. Some of my favorite moments from the first season. And another favorite moment of mine is, Inuyasha, killing the last of the Thunder Brothers. He's the elder brother. I mean, there's some pretty moments that I enjoyed in this first season. I enjoyed the action scenes, and I also enjoyed some of the humor in the series. And one thing I've noticed, Kagome in season 1 she's more of a badass in that season. She doesn't get rescued as much compared to season 2 and onwards. I don't know why. Kagome seemed to be relatively capable in season 1. I don't know what changed. That's just one thing I've observed. My favorite characters of the cast is Shishomaru. I think he's a badass. I think he's the most interesting of the characters, and when he's ever used in the plot, he's used well. He's not some of those characters that are just there just cause. I think when Roku Takahashi inserts Shishomaru into the story, I think he's used well, unlike characters in other series where they're just used for because what the fuck. Of course, another one of my favorite characters is Sango. I think she's you kind of help but feel bad for her at times because of what happened with her village and her brother. And she has some pretty cool moments, honestly. Unlike Agome, she doesn't need to be rescued every 5 seconds. Moroku is, I enjoy him. He's pretty funny in some of the stuff that he does. Kagome, I think is a strong character as the series progresses. Inuyasha, I think is a badass. Not as much as his brother, but I still think he's a character that you can't help it like. And unlike Naruto, doesn't become a fucking chosen one at some point in the series and completely ruins the character completely. Oh, sorry, couldn't help it but take a stab at Naruto because that series pisses me off in the final story arc. Anyway, continuing with the Inuyasha review, I think the music is really good for this series. This is one thing a lot of people who criticize this series, who hate on it, they never mention some of the good aspects, and that is its soundtrack. I think its soundtrack is really good, and it fits the atmosphere of the series well. It fits it, the kind of music it plays. It's in feudal Japan, and it feels like it's the kind of music that would belong in that time. Honestly, the openings and ending themes are really good too. They're pleasant to listen to. Actually, Inuyasha is one of the reasons I listen to Japanese music. It's what started it. The only things I could say that's really negative about this series I could think of right now is this is more of a Adult Swim thing, is how overly they expose this series. Honestly, but then again they've done it far worse with Cowboy Bebop and Fullmetal Alchemist than they did with this series. At least this series has over 100 episodes plus. Anyway, one of my favorite episodes, because that's one thing I want to talk about. Well, season one, my favorite episode is episode 7 and episode 18. Episode 7, because it was the first epic moment of the series where you see Inuyasha use the Titsaga for the first time, and you get a glimpse of its power. Episode 18 is my favorite episode for that reason as well. Not only does it introduce the main villain of the series, but also you get to show how powerful the Titsaga really is. That it isn't this regular sword that you could just swing around. Shishomaru actually showcases the power of the Titsaga, even though the power of the Wind Scar is really inconsistent, you know, with the rest of the series, because it seems a lot more powerful than it is later on. But then again, whatever, it's a plot hole. It's every anime and manga of its genre has them, so that's not something to count against it. Of course, season two favorite episodes of that season, um, Chisaga breaks. I thought this was an epic moment in the series because for the first time you see a side to Inuyasha that you never see. That's really dark and evil, and to hear him say, the stuff that he says in Japanese and him enjoying killing, you know, um, Genkoshi, getting whatever I forgot his name. Here, having him kill him and basically just kill him like it's nothing, and just hearing it's just the way his Seiyu says those lines in Japanese, I thought was really chilling and kind of it was really awesome. It's kind of a shame you don't have more of those kind of moments in the series, and it was very violent, very gruesome. It's definitely an awesome episode in my opinion. See, what is another episode I thought was awesome in this season? Um, I thought another awesome episode actually is Titsaga and Tenseiga, basically, which is the second fight with Inuyasha and Jishomaru. You learn more about the swords, actually, and what is that sword that Shishomaru has on him. You also learn about the Titsaga and even see the creator of the Titsaga. I know it's ridiculous. Some of my favorite episodes of this certain series are when it introduces big plot points. I just love those kind of episodes because I love that kind of world building. I mean, there's another favorite episode of mine from various different seasons. Like if I had to pick a third, 21 be a favorite episode of mine because it's the first time that the Inuyasha ever encounters Naraku, and and just seeing a glimpse of his face, especially if you're watching it for the first time, because you're like, who is this guy? And it shows he's not a force to be reckoned with. If I had to choose another favorite episode from this season, all as well, I know it's ridiculous. Episode 29, when This episode is the first time you learn what an evil son of a bitch that Naraku really is. It just shows you just how cruel he is as a villain. And unlike Orochimaru and Naruto, he doesn't turn to a fucking good guy at the end of his story. He's evil to the end. And honestly, I'm sick of villains that have justifiable reasons for their actions. I prefer villains sometimes just to be evil in whatever sort of way possible. And not to mention, I'll get into this about Naraku in a later video, which is why I'm not going to talk about the side villains very much in here. Inuyasha, in my opinion, for the first 54 episodes, I thought it was a very enjoyable experience watching it again after so many years. Because I figured, well, if I'm going to watch the final act, I want to watch everything from the beginning so I can have all that build up for the final episode of that season. I would rank Inuyasha episodes 1 through 54. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I mean, who cares what people have to say? This is my channel. If you don't like this show, well, give it your own rating because I love this show. I think it's a good anime. I think it doesn't deserve the hate that it gets nowadays. I think it's far better than a lot of the stuff that came out in Tanami. This is blasphemy I'm about to say, but it's better than the anime of Roy Kenshin. I know people are going to say, "Oh, how you have shitty taste to say that." Well, I love Roy Kenshin, but my love for the set franchise comes through the manga, not the anime. And Inuyasha, in some ways, does make improvements of the manga, and I'll explain why in season 3. One of my favorite story arcs in the anime, I like over the manga. This is Darcenovia. Over and out, everyone. And tell me what you think. What other animes do you want me to review in the future? Do you want me to do more? I'm going to do it regardless. Have a nice day, everyone. Hopefully you'll enjoy me doing something different besides what I normally do. Next time I review an anime, it'll be Inuyasha movie 1, The Affection Across Time. I will announce my next anime related thing I will review. Peace out.